Fursatganj, Uttar Pradesh, a town where life moved at the pace of the languid Ganges nearby. Days were filled with the rhythmic clatter of looms and the fragrant aroma of spices. It was here that Sadashiv Sahu, a seemingly ordinary cloth merchant, lived among his community. He was a quiet man, known for his gentle demeanor and friendly smile. But as days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, the disappearances became impossible to ignore. Fear, like a venomous serpent, slithered through the heart of Fursatganj. The epicenter of this fear? Sadashiv Sahu's modest cloth shop. The disappearances followed a chilling pattern. It always started with a stranger, someone passing through Fursatganj. They would stop, perhaps seeking directions, and that's when they would encounter Sadashiv Sahu. He would lure them into his shop. No one knows for sure what transpired within those walls. The only witness, the only storyteller, was Sahu himself. The victims, he confessed, were mostly itinerant workers. They faced a monster cloaked in the normalcy of everyday life. Sahu's confession was remorselessness and chilling in every detail. He recounted his crimes with an eerie detachment, his voice as calm as if he were discussing the day's weather. He described how he would overpower his victims, his hands surprisingly strong for a man who spent his days measuring fabric. He revealed the tools of his gruesome trade: a heavy hammer, its head stained with the indelible mark of his deeds, and a collection of knives, their blades honed to a razor's edge. He led the police to a hidden chamber beneath his shop, a gruesome trophy room of his own making. Here, amidst the damp earth and the musty scent of decay, they unearthed the remains of his victims. Skulls stared back at them with empty sockets, a silent testament to Sahu's barbarity. Bones, picked clean and bleached by time, lay scattered like grim puzzle pieces. The air hung heavy with the stench of death, a suffocating reminder of the horrors that had unfolded in this forgotten corner of the world. Despite Sahu's confession and the grisly evidence unearthed beneath his shop, a seed of doubt lingered in the minds of some. Fursatganj, for all its recent horrors, was a place where people still held on to their beliefs, where ancient superstitions intertwined with modern life. Rumors spread like wildfire, fueled by whispers in the shadows and furtive glances exchanged across crowded markets. Some claimed that Sahu was a scapegoat, a pawn sacrificed to protect a more influential figure. They pointed to inconsistencies in his confession, to details that seemed borrowed from local folklore rather than rooted in reality. Others alleged police coercion, suggesting that Sahu, a simple man with no history of violence, had been pressured into confessing to crimes he did not commit. The police, however, remained steadfast in their belief that they had the right man. The impact of Sahu's crimes on Fursatganj ran deep, leaving an indelible stain on the town's soul. The once vibrant marketplace, where laughter and the rhythmic clang of hammers once filled the air, was now shrouded in an uneasy silence. Families of the victims, their faces etched with grief and anger, demanded justice. A pall of suspicion hung over Fursatganj, poisoning the once strong bonds of community. Neighbors who had once shared meals and laughter now eyed each other with suspicion, their trust shattered. As the weeks turned into months, the legal machine ground slowly but relentlessly forward. Witnesses were called to the stand, their testimonies painting a picture of Sahu's life in the days leading up to his arrest. Forensic experts presented their findings, their voices echoing in the hushed courtroom as they detailed the gruesome evidence recovered from the hidden chamber beneath Sahu's shop. Sahu, once a respected member of the community, now sat in the dock, his eyes downcast, his fate hanging in the balance. He had pleaded not guilty, his defense team arguing that his confession had been coerced and the evidence circumstantial. The prosecution presented a compelling case, weaving a narrative of a cold and calculating killer who preyed on the vulnerable. The jury listened intently, their faces a study in concentration as they weighed the evidence. Even as the gavel fell, signaling the end of the trial and the verdict, a sense of unease lingered over Fursatganj. The trial had provided some answers, but it had also unearthed a wellspring of questions that refused to be silenced. Had Sadashiv Sahu, the quiet cloth merchant, truly been capable of such monstrous acts? Or had he been a victim of circumstance, a pawn sacrificed in a larger game of power and deceit? Life in Fursatganj slowly returned to a semblance of normalcy, but the scars of Sahu's crimes ran deep. The cloth shop, once a hub of activity, remained shuttered, its windows boarded up, a constant reminder of the horrors that had unfolded within its walls. And so, the story of Sadashiv Sahu, the cloth merchant turned alleged serial killer, passed into the realm of local legend, a chilling tale told and retold around flickering oil lamps on long, stifling nights.